Okay, so it's been a while since I've done one of these. Hopefully it'll work. And the reason that I am doing this on this Saturday is that we just experienced the press conference of Donald Trump's doctor. And the doctor appears, based on some of his answers, to have come out specifically not to reveal certain sorts of information, but in the end revealed a ton. And so that's what we're going to be talking about here. I'm going to give people a little bit of time to come in. I have a couple of concerns about the live stream. One, haven't done one of these on my phone in a very long time, and I've dropped it a lot since the last time I did, so we'll see how that works out. And the second is that in the past when I've used this, once we reach a certain threshold of likes, the entire stream crashes, so that should be great. But if you are joining me on the Saturday morning, thank you for doing that. Okay, so here's what happened. Obviously, Donald Trump was sort of surprise. They're saying not emergency rush to Walter Reed, but it is a pretty extreme move. That's yesterday. We didn't know exactly why they were deciding to do this, but we do know that Donald Trump walked to the helicopter. He appeared to be in, pretty good health. They put up that short video, literally the shortest video of him speaking that has ever been seen anywhere. And so based on that, it seemed like he was doing okay. And so he's been at Walter Reed overnight. They decide this morning they're going to do this press conference where their doctors are going to come out. And so that's what we got not long ago, within the last hour. A couple of different doctors spoke. They appear to have just been Walter Reed doctors. Like, they're not there specifically to protect Trump in some way. They gave some basic information about the care that he was receiving. And then the actual Trump's physician comes out. His name escapes me right now, but it's not the one you're thinking of. It's the new one. And so he was clearly, like, you can have a doctor who gives a press conference, and then you can have a Trump person who's technically a doctor give a press conference. And when Trump's physician came up, that's basically what this transitioned over to. He appeared to want to, sort of generate a sense of calm about the president's condition, which, by the way, I don't even dispute that that's probably where you should be at. He does seem to be doing okay, and we know that he's going to receive the best care, so you should expect that that's probably what's going to happen. But once the questions started, that is when things got very interesting. So there were a couple things, and I'm going to give you the worst one in a little bit, but a couple things. One, if you are curious about how honest this Trump physician is going to be about the president's condition, I want you to pay special attention to one of his answers, which was when he was asked by a reporter, does the president, other than his age and his weight, does he have any other sort of comorbidities, anything, but pre-existing conditions, I think is what they said. And the doctor, it's not like the doctor's going to reveal that he has diabetes. I get that, if you're having a press conference, technically you should be honest with us, but I get that you're not going to violate, your, oath to not reveal, whatever. But so he says, the president is slightly overweight and he's 74 and male. So all of those are contributors to the lethality of COVID. But, the fact that he's slightly overweight, dude, I don't trust you anymore. I can't trust almost anything you say because, I understand why you put it that way. You are there to protect Donald Trump and to make Donald Trump look awesome. That's what you're there for. You're technically there for, ostensibly there for, to inform us about the president's medical condition, but that's clearly not your primary goal if you're describing him as slightly overweight. That's just not accurate. It just isn't. I'm slightly overweight, to be totally honest. Donald Trump is not slightly overweight. Donald Trump is severely overweight. He is 40, 50, perhaps more pounds overweight. They've routinely lied about his height to make it seem not so bad. I'm not judging. This is not body shame or anything. This is just, if you're giving us information about his potential susceptibility to COVID and you lie about that, well, then I don't really trust much that you have to say. But so anyway, and all that's true. Being 74 is not just in sort of the older age category. That's pretty far into the older age category, so understand that. Now, that isn't the biggest thing. They also ask about some of the experimental medication that he's been put on, and they didn't really provide much interesting additional information there. I would have loved a follow-up question as to why Trump isn't on hydroxychloroquine, because in the list of medication that they provided, both the ones that they described at the press conference, really fast, why am I not seeing the live chat? I wonder about that. That's interesting. I should be able to. I wonder why. That's disappointing anyway. Did I not make it active? That's unfortunate. Anyway, this is what you get for not doing a live stream for a long time. Okay, so why isn't he on hydroxychloroquine? That's supposed to be the miracle drug. You've been telling us that for a very long time. Why isn't he on it? But they didn't ask that, unfortunately. Why is he on any of these experimental drugs? And they didn't get into the details of that, but I have a theory. And it's not that he needs to be on these experimental drugs because he's been as hard hit in the first few days of COVID as anyone else. I don't think that that's the explanation. I understand some people think that. I don't think, based on the fact that he was walking around and he did that video, I think he does have mild symptoms right now. I think it's that Donald Trump is like, oh damn, I'm sick, hit me with your best shot. Fire away, give me everything you can possibly do. And because he's the president, the doctors did it. I don't think that, if he hadn't suggested these things or said, give me everything, I don't think that they would have. I don't think he'd be on all these experimental things. These things that literally the FDA hasn't even approved yet, he was immediately put on with mild symptoms in the first few days. And again, I don't think that means that he's worse off than they've described. I really don't think that. I think this is him being insane and telling them to do things that literally could be damaging to his health. I mean, the reason some of these experimental medications are not approved for mass consumption is because we don't yet know about their interactions with other medicines, the long-term side effects that they can cause, and all of that. This could be bad for his health. But he, I think, ordered it, and so that's what he's getting. But that's not the worst thing. So the worst thing, and many of you, if you're tuning into this, you're probably watching it live too, you probably know, it is the timeline for this entire story, which, up until today, if you've been sort of following along, you know that at some point, Hope Hicks apparently started to feel symptoms, and I believe this is on Wednesday, and decided to sort of self-isolate on Air Force One, which, again, I don't know how you do that on a plane, but anyway. And then sometime later, Donald Trump is eventually diagnosed around the time that it's revealed to us. Now, we already knew that that was suspect because some of the reporting said that the aides were saying they had hoped that they could have hidden Hope Hicks's infection from ever being released, that we wouldn't have even known. I'm assuming the fact that Trump got it is what blew that plan out of the water. But here's the thing. We talked on the show yesterday about how Donald Trump did a rally and multiple fundraisers, and at the time, we were very critical of Donald Trump because it seemed incredibly irresponsible to do those things, especially, and to continue to not wear a mask, albeit potentially socially distanced, but to not wear a mask when you believed I've been around someone that had COVID. That is irresponsible. But that is not what actually happened. It is so much worse than that. Because according to the doctor today, one of his medications, he said this morning, they prescribed him 72 hours ago. They're 72 hours into the diagnosis, they prescribed these medications to him. But at that point, we had only found out about him being sick for 36 hours, which means that he had had it and known he had it for a day and a half more. And that encompasses all of that time of the fundraisers, of the rally. This isn't a guy being irresponsible and thinks maybe I might have been exposed. This is a guy who knew he had it and still did all of those things. He still did the rally. You've probably seen the footage. He literally threw hats. He had a hat and he threw it to one of his fans. Just a biological weapon that he's throwing. He met with people, donors, who were donating $250,000 to be infected by the president with a fatal disease. That is the story out of this. And I know in the past week, I mean, there have been so many big stories. How do you focus on any one thing? The taxes, remember the taxes? That was less than a week ago. No, I guess we're moving past that. He was knowingly exposing not Democrats, not his political opponents, literally the people that support him most, to the virus. And so I have to wonder, if you were one of the Republican donors at those multiple fundraisers, who news reports were saying was freaking out yesterday, what are you thinking right now? If you signed a check for $250,000 to the president and handed it to him, as he sat there knowing that he has the virus and he doesn't care if he exposes you to it, then what's the next thing you sign? It's some sort of court document? And I'm not even joking there. How does this not result in dozens of lawsuits against the president for willfully exposing people to a fatal disease? unless the doctor misspoke, or unless they say that the doctor misspoke. But remember, the doctor went out there to protect the president. That's why when they were talking about the supplemental oxygen, he was so evasive, because his primary job was not to inform the public about the president's condition. That was one of the jobs. His primary job was to run PR for the president and make him seem strong and, large and in charge and all of that. Not slightly large, sorry. Slightly large and in charge, slightly. And then he revealed that 72-hour thing. Now, I don't doubt that Kayleigh McEnany is going to come out, and say that that was misspeaking or something. But the thing is, do they want to go on the record as saying that? Do they want that doctor to be brought into Congress to testify under oath about when these things were prescribed? Because that's a lot harder to hide than just some random conversation or something like that. But if the president was exposing people and potentially killing people, I mean, like a dozen people have now got COVID as of this last week. At least a dozen were exposed at the debate that we know of, including a number of aides whose identities have not come out. But we've got Ronna McDaniel, we've got Chris Christie now apparently has it. We've got multiple Republican senators, including more than one on the Senate Judiciary Committee, which now they're supposedly still going to run hearings and all of that. And the thing is, those Republican senators that have identified that they have it, is that all of them? And this is not conspiratorial, I really don't think. If you were thinking, I'm a Republican senator, I have COVID, I want Amy Coney Barrett confirmed. If I say that I have it, then that might slow down the process. So I could hide it and potentially get a supermajority in the Supreme Court, with the only cost being that I might expose my Democratic colleagues to a fatal illness, which I already have, and I've been proven for 6 months now that I don't care about. So do you 100% trust them to be forthcoming about it? Maybe they will. I mean, multiple of them have already identified that they have it. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm being paranoid. I hope that I am, because the idea that they would expose more people to this. But it wouldn't be the first time. Remember Rand Paul? Remember the gym and all of that? This wouldn't be the first time so many people have got it. Kellyanne Conway has got it. Now, I don't know for sure that she got it at this same event. It's possible they've got multiple super spreader events. Maybe, I mean, they're hugging people left and right, so I can't say for sure. But I do know that this weekend, this coming week, there are going to be some really tough questions about the timeline of this, down to the hour. What did you know? When did you know it? Why did you do the things that you did? Why did you risk your own high-profile donors' lives? Although we sort of know the answer, because they don't care about this and they want the money. I would guess that's probably the reason. Okay, so we've reached 1,000 likes, so this stream could crash at any moment unless the phone has been patched. For some reason, the Pixel 2 XL, when you're live streaming, when you hit 1,000 likes, generally it breaks. And this is normally the point on the stream where I would ask you for comments and questions. I would respond to them and all of that, but unfortunately, I can't actually see your comments, and I don't understand why that is, but I will tell you that I find it incredibly frustrating, because now more than ever, I really want to know what you're all thinking about this. Did I go into the wrong app or something? I really don't think that I did. Anyway, that's frustrating. Okay, so that's really the big takeaway. If you're joining us late, they didn't talk about hydroxychloroquine. They didn't give a good reason why the president, who is apparently in good condition, was immediately put on experimental, not supported by the FDA medications. They revealed that he had it about twice as long earlier than we knew. They accidentally sort of were forced to reveal that he has been on supplemental oxygen, but isn't today. And by the way, it's just such a weird thing to not admit up front, because it doesn't mean he was on a ventilator or anything like that. He could have had one of the little things giving him a little bit of extra oxygen. And now it looks so much worse, because it still came out. We still know he did it, but now it looks defensive. It looks like he's hiding it, which is worse than just doing it. And you've already revealed that you're on experimental medications. What's a little bit of oxygen between friends? At that point, it's just such a weird thing. And it's like the natural outgrowth of the bizarre right-wing idea of what masculinity is, which is whatever is weak is actually strong, whatever is ignorant is actually strong and wise and awesome and alpha. And in all of these things, you just reveal how weak you actually are, you big idiots. You slightly big idiots. How stupid. Anyway, the one thing that they have going for them is that this news is coming out on a Saturday morning. It's possible that some people won't be paying as much attention to the news. It's possible that something else will push it out of the news before Monday. But I can guarantee this. On Monday, on the damage report, when Francesca Fiorentini of the Bituation Room comes on the show, we're going to be talking about this, okay? There's a lot of things. We got to keep a lot of balls in the air as we're juggling the news, but this is going to be one of those, especially because, again, how can you not have court cases about this? If you exposed me to COVID, you great big a-hole, I would sue the virus off of you. I would sue. And I know that they're Republicans, I know, but I know that they also want money. Trump might settle out of court for an undisclosed sum. What evil bastards. What evil bastards. They exposed each other. They exposed their donors. And they're not changing, by the way. They're still, some of them are wearing masks in the White House, to be fair, but a lot of them aren't, still, even after their boss has got it. And I guess, to some extent, this is the death cult. It's not that they don't want to individually wear masks. Some of them might want to. It's, are you going to be the one to do it and face the scorn, the accusations of disloyalty by those that are upholding the president's wishes, which is to pretend that the virus doesn't exist? If you care about your life, if you care about the lives of your family and your friends, then you will do that. But if you care only about your future in the Trump administration, and that is only assured by loyalty, then maybe you won't. Maybe you won't. And by the way, I will say again, if you're just joining this now, my takeaway from this is that the president has now been exposed to more legal liability, but he already had so much that doesn't even really care. But also that the president is probably doing just fine. I really do think that. And Melania is apparently doing fine too. There was a very quick update about that. They didn't really say much. And they weirdly wouldn't say that Trump was a patient at Walter Reed. They want to have him there, but not say that he's a patient, because I guess a patient is a sign of weakness. And literally it appears that there was some sort of contract of all the things you're not allowed to say because it'll make him seem weak. And I would say that clearly having that contract is what makes you weak. But anyway, but Trump is at 96% oxygen saturation or whatever. He seems like he's doing fine in terms of his breathing. They say that he's mobile. He's apparently not on oxygen today, if you trust what the doctor is saying. So I feel much like I did on Friday, that the president is probably going to be absolutely fine. And so we should start to prep for what comes after this. What are his fans going to say? What are the other Republicans going to say? What is Donald Trump going to say? What effect is it going to have on the election? What effect is it going to have on the pandemic and the government's response to it? That is where we then transition to. And I don't think any of it's good. If Trump does get through this smoothly, or if Trump gets through this not smoothly, but we are led to believe that it was smooth, the fear is that many of his fans will say, it's not so bad. I mean, how bad could it be? The president got through it, and he was 74 and slightly overweight and all of that. And so I tweeted to the effect, and I know that it's not going to work. It's not like a lot of MAGA heads follow me or anything like that. I said, okay, but you get that. If you get COVID, you're not going to be flown preemptively to Walter Reed, put on experimental medication, have an entire hospital wing of doctors watching you at any given second. All of that will be covered for free, and all of that, you're probably not going to get any of that. And COVID will be as lethal for you as it is for a regular plebe, not one of our, vaunted divine political elites. Bear that in mind, in case you get it, because it's rough, apparently, because well over 200,000 people have died. It's important that we get as many of the MAGA heads to understand that as possible. In terms of the effect on Senate, with so many Republicans now being struck with COVID, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how many lie about it. Will it affect the negotiations that are ongoing? I honestly don't know. Should it? Obviously. You would think, because one of the rules of politics is that Republicans don't take anything seriously until it affects someone very close to them, including possibly them. So this should be an invocation of that. Will it be? I don't know. There's a lot of money on the line, and they don't want to seem weak. And it's an election. And so, ugh. Anyway, I really wish that I could get your comments right now. I can only imagine what the commentary is like. And it also, I don't know if on this stream it is possible to send in a super chat, but if you did, I can't see it. I will go in afterward and read it, but nothing kills me more than someone doing a super chat and me not being able to respond live. So it will be seen, don't worry about that, but anyway, I know I look like hell. I swear it's not because I have COVID, I just haven't taken a shower yet. It's Saturday. Get off my back. I'm getting ready for a weekend of playing Twilight Imperium 4th Edition. I feel like I should start off lazy if I'm going to run the rest of my weekend lazy. Anyway, that's the breaking news. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Thank you to the 17,000 of you live tuning in. I think this is the most we've ever had on one of these impromptu live videos. Next time, hopefully I will be able to see your comments so that this can be a real back and forth. That would be nice. I was really curious what you all think about this, but I will go into the commentary afterwards so that I can get your ideas in anticipation of Monday's The Damage Report with Francesca Fiorentini. Are we going to have a vice presidential debate? I'm supposed to be covering it live. Is it going to happen now? Pence doesn't have it, Kamala doesn't have it, but are we going to do another one of these super spreader things? I honestly don't know. Will it be Zoom? Will that be a mess? Probably. Anyway, thank you everybody for tuning in. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do that. You can also watch us on Twitch at twitch.tv/TYT. And with that, have a good rest of your weekend.